My husband left me for his secretary and thought I'd leave with nothing. So when the secret prenup page was revealed, his power shattered overnight. I remember how he smiled, that confident, charming smile that had won me over at the charity gala where we'd met. "You do trust me, don't you, Sophie?" Of course I trusted him. I was 28, freshly graduated from my MBA program, and head over heels in love with one of Boston's most eligible bachelors. Andrew Hamilton was everything I dreamed of, successful, brilliant, and seemingly devoted to me. Now, standing in that same office, watching him pack his designer briefcase with one hand while texting his secretary with the other, I wondered how I could have been so blind. "It's nothing personal, Sophie," he said, not even looking up from his phone. "Jessica and I, we just connect on a different level, you understand." Jessica, his 23-year-old secretary, who had started working for him 8 months ago, the one he'd insisted on hiring personally despite her conspicuous lack of qualifications. "And the prenup?" My voice sounded distant, even to myself. "That was your plan all along, wasn't it?" Now he did look up, that familiar smirk playing across his face. "Smart girl. Always knew you were clever." He pulled a document from his desk drawer, one page, very clear. "In the event of divorce, you get nothing. No alimony, no property rights, no shares in Hamilton Industries. You signed it, remember?" I remembered. I also remembered how he'd rushed me through it, how he kept talking about the wedding plans, distracting me from the fine print. "Good luck surviving," he added, shouldering his briefcase. "Though I hear the library is hiring. You've always liked books, haven't you?" He laughed as he walked out, leaving me alone in the office where I'd spent countless hours helping him build Hamilton Industries into what it was today, the company he'd now locked me out of with a single page of legal text. My phone buzzed, a text from Megan, my best friend and, as luck would have it, a corporate lawyer, just heard. Coming over now. I sank into one of the plush office chairs, my mind racing. 5 years of marriage, of dedicating myself to Andrew's company, of putting my own career dreams on hold, all ended with a smirk and a one-page prenup. Megan arrived like a whirlwind, her court heels clicking against the marble floors, her face flushed with anger. "That bastard! I knew he was planning something when he started staying late with that Barbie doll secretary." She dropped her briefcase on the desk and pulled me into a fierce hug. "Tell me everything." I did, starting with finding the texts on Andrew's iPad 2 weeks ago, messages to Jessica about their future together, how he'd grown increasingly distant, working late, taking mysterious business trips. Then, this morning's bombshell. Divorce papers delivered to my office, along with the prenup I'd signed 5 years ago. He said it's nothing personal, I finished bitterly, that Jessica understands him better. "Understands his wallet, more like," Megan muttered, already flipping through the documents. "Let me see this prenup he's so smug about." I handed it over, watching as her sharp eyes scanned the legal text. After a moment, she frowned. "Something's off here," she said slowly. "The formatting, it's not quite right." "What do you mean?" She held the page up to the light. "See these margin marks? They don't align properly. And the page number," she pointed to a tiny 1 at the bottom. "Why number a single page?" My heart started beating faster. "You think there's more?" "I think," Megan said, pulling out her phone. "We need to talk to the lawyer who drafted this, Gerald Foster, according to the letterhead. And lucky for us, I know exactly where to find him." 2 hours later, we sat in Gerald Foster's cramped office in downtown Boston. He was older than I expected, with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses and a suit that looked like it had seen better days. "Of course, I remember the Hamilton prenup," he said, pulling out a thick file. "Quite an interesting document, actually. One of my last cases before retirement." "Mr. Foster?" Megan leaned forward. "The copy my friend was given shows only 1 page, but you're indicating there was more." The old lawyer's eyes narrowed. 1 page? That's not possible. The original document was quite extensive, multiple pages dealing with various contingencies, particularly regarding intellectual property and company holdings. My hands started trembling. "Intellectual property?" "Yes, my dear. You see, Andrew was quite insistent about protecting his company's patents and trade secrets, but your father, clever man, your father, He insisted on adding some provisions of his own. "My father?" I whispered. "But he died before the wedding. He never met Andrew." Foster smiled gently. "Oh, he met him. 3 months before his death, your father came to me. He was concerned about Andrew's reputation in certain business circles. He wanted to make sure you were protected." He turned to his computer, typing slowly with 2 fingers. "I should have the original scan somewhere. Ah, here we go." The printer whirred to life, producing several pages. Foster handed them to me with a flourish. Page 2 is particularly interesting, the one dealing with intellectual property theft and corporate espionage. I stared at the documents, my vision blurring slightly. There it was, page 2 of a prenup I'd never seen in its entirety, and what I read made my blood run cold. "Megan," I said quietly, "I need you to look at this now." She took the pages, her eyes widening as she read. "Oh my God," she breathed. "Sophie, do you know what this means?" I did. I was beginning to understand exactly what my father had done, and why Andrew had been so careful to hide these pages from me. The smug smile, the rush to get me to sign, the careful distraction. It all made sense now. "Mr. Foster," I said, my voice steadier than I felt, "I need copies of everything. And then I need you to tell me exactly what my father said about Andrew Hamilton." The old lawyer's eyes twinkled. "My dear, I thought you'd never ask." The next few hours were a crash course in corporate law and my father's foresight. Thomas Bennett hadn't built a successful tech company by being naive. He'd seen something in Andrew that had worried him, something that had prompted him to add very specific clauses to the prenup. "Your father suspected Andrew was after more than just a marriage," Foster explained. "He'd heard rumors about corporate espionage, about stolen patents. He couldn't prove anything, but he wanted to protect me," I finished, "and his company's intellectual property." "Precisely. The second page of the prenup includes a clause that any intellectual property belonging to Bennett Technologies would remain solely under your control in the event of a divorce, including patents developed using Bennett Tech." Megan was practically bouncing in her seat. "Sophie, don't you see what this means? Hamilton Industries' biggest products, their whole AI division, it's all built on Bennett Technologies' original patents." I did see. I saw exactly why Andrew had hidden these pages, why he'd been so confident with his 1-page prenup. He thought he'd covered his tracks. "He never knew," I said slowly. "All these years, he never knew my father had outplayed him." Foster nodded. "Thomas was very clear. These pages were to remain sealed unless Andrew initiated divorce proceedings. He said, and I quote, 'Let him show his true colors first.'" My phone buzzed again. Andrew probably calling to gloat or pressure me about the divorce papers. I let it go to voicemail, my mind already racing with possibilities. "Megan," I said, turning to my friend, "how quickly can we file a countersuit?" She grinned, already pulling out her laptop. "Give me an hour. By the time we're done, Andrew Hamilton won't know what hit him." I touched the papers reverently, thinking of my father. He'd seen through Andrew's charm, had put these protections in place even when I was too blinded by love to see the truth. "One more thing," Foster said, pulling out another file. "Your father left this for you, said to give it to you when the time comes. I think the time is now." The envelope he handed me was thick, sealed with my father's company logo. Inside was a USB drive and a letter in his familiar handwriting. "My dearest Sophie, if you're reading this, then Andrew has shown his true nature. I'm sorry I won't be there to help you through this, but I've left you everything you need to protect yourself." My father's letter trembled in my hands as I continued reading. The USB drive contains proof of what I suspected: Andrew's systematic theft of Bennett Technologies patents, email trails, modified code, timestamps that prove our technology was developed first. He thought he was clever, but he didn't count on me keeping backup servers running even after the company's sale. "I know this will hurt, sweetheart. You loved him, and he betrayed that love. But you're stronger than you know. You're my daughter, and Bennetts don't break. We rebuild. Use this information wisely and remember, sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all, but justice, served cold and clean. All my love, Dad." Megan was already plugging the USB drive into her laptop, her eyes widening as she scrolled through the files. "Sophie," she breathed, "this is incredible. Your father documented everything, every patent Andrew stole, every piece of code he modified. He knew, I said softly. Dad knew what Andrew was planning all along, and he left you the perfect weapon. Megan turned the laptop so I could see. Look at this. Emails between Andrew and his development team discussing how to disguise the stolen Bennett tech. Timestamps proving your father's company developed these systems years before Hamilton Industries claimed them. My phone buzzed again, another call from Andrew. This time, I answered. Having second thoughts about the divorce? His smug voice made my skin crawl. Actually, I said calmly, I just had a fascinating meeting with Gerald Foster. Remember him? The lawyer who drafted our prenup. There was a slight pause. That old fool? What about him? He showed me something interesting. The full prenup. All the pages you conveniently forgot to show me 5 years ago. The silence on the other end was deafening. Sophie, he said finally, his tone carefully controlled. I don't know what you think you found, but... Page 2, I cut him off. The one about intellectual property rights, specifically Bennett Technologies' patents. Ring any bells? I heard him inhale sharply. That's impossible. Those pages were destroyed. Apparently not. Oh, and Dad left me something else, a USB drive full of proof that Hamilton Industries' entire AI division is built on stolen technology. My technology, according to the prenup you signed. You're bluffing, but I could hear the fear creeping into his voice. Am I? Check your email. Megan just sent you a sample of what we have. I'll give you an hour to call me back. I hung up, my heart pounding but my hands steady. Megan grinned at me. That was badass. He'll call his lawyers immediately, I said, starting to pace. Try to find a way around this. Let him try. Megan was already typing furiously. I'm filing for an emergency injunction right now. By tomorrow morning, Hamilton Industries won't be able to use any of their AI systems without risking massive penalties. It took Andrew exactly 43 minutes to call back. What do you want? His voice was tight with barely controlled rage. A meeting, tomorrow morning, your office. Bring your lawyers. And Jessica, too. She should hear this. Fine. 9 a.m. Oh, and Andrew, don't try anything clever. The evidence is already in safe hands. I spent that night in my home office, going through every file my father had left. The more I read, the more amazed I was at his foresight. He hadn't just documented the theft. He'd created a complete roadmap of how Hamilton Industries had integrated the stolen technology into their systems. By morning, I was ready. I dressed carefully in my sharpest suit, Valentino, bought with my own money from my years working before I met Andrew. The irony wasn't lost on me. Megan met me outside Hamilton Industries headquarters, alongside Gerald Foster and 2 other lawyers from her firm. Ready to take him down? I touched the USB drive in my pocket. Ready. Andrew's executive conference room was full when we arrived. He sat at the head of the table, surrounded by his legal team. Jessica was there too, looking uncomfortable in a dress that was trying too hard to be professional. Let's make this quick, Andrew said, not bothering to stand. Whatever you think you have. Oh, I know exactly what I have, I interrupted, nodding to Megan. She started distributing folders to everyone in the room. Page 1, I said clearly, is the prenup you showed me. Page 2, the one you hid, gives me full rights to any Bennett Technologies patents in the event of a divorce. Pages 3 through 10 detail exactly how Hamilton Industries stole and modified those patents. Andrew's lawyers were flipping through the documents, their faces growing increasingly concerned. One of them leaned over to whisper something in Andrew's ear. This is ridiculous, he snapped. You can't prove. Actually, we can prove everything. Megan connected her laptop to the room's display screen. These are the original Bennett Technologies patents, filed 3 years before Hamilton Industries suddenly developed remarkably similar systems. For the next hour, we laid out our case methodically, the stolen code, the modified timestamps, the internal emails discussing how to disguise the theft. With each revelation, Andrew's face grew paler. Jessica watched the presentation with growing horror, finally standing up abruptly. I need to... Stay, I said firmly. You should hear this too. The company you think you're getting? It's built on theft, and it's about to come crashing down. One of Andrew's lawyers cleared his throat. Perhaps we should discuss settlement terms. No. Andrew slammed his hand on the table. I built this company. I made it what it is. You stole what my father built, I corrected him. And now you have a choice. Either we do this the easy way, or we let the FBI's corporate fraud division handle it. Dad sent them copies of everything, too. The room erupted in chaos. Lawyers huddling together, Andrew shouting about betrayal, Jessica slipping quietly out the door. Finally, Andrew's lead lawyer spoke. What are your terms? I pulled out another document, one I'd prepared last night. Full control of Hamilton Industries' AI division. It goes back to Bennett Technologies, which I still own. You keep the rest of the company, but you license our technology legally from now on. And I smiled coldly. I want a public statement acknowledging where the technology really came from. You can't be serious, Andrew sputtered. That division is worth billions. It was worth billions when my father developed it too, I said quietly, before you stole it. The negotiations took hours. By the end, Andrew was a shadow of the confident man who'd smirked at me yesterday. The final agreement was even better than I'd hoped. I got the AI division, a seat on Hamilton Industries board, and a public acknowledgement of Bennett Technologies' contributions. One more thing, I said as the lawyers finished the paperwork. The divorce settlement. I want the house. Andrew looked up, surprised. The beach house? Why? It's barely worth... It's where my father spent his last summer. I cut him off. It matters to me. You can keep the penthouse. I'm sure Jessica will love it. That evening, I sat in my father's old study at the beach house, watching the sunset over the ocean. Megan had gone home, promising to handle all the legal follow-up. The day's events felt almost surreal. My phone buzzed with a text from Jessica. I'm sorry. I didn't know about any of this. I didn't respond. She'd learned her own lessons about Andrew soon enough. Opening my laptop, I logged into the Bennett Technologies servers for the first time in years. The familiar interface welcomed me home, and I could almost hear my father's voice guiding me through the code like he used to. Another text came through. This one from Andrew. You'll regret this. You have no idea how to run a tech division. I smiled, thinking of all the nights I'd spent learning coding from my father, all the summers interning at Bennett Technologies before I met Andrew. He'd never bothered to ask about my background in tech. He just assumed I was another pretty face with a business degree. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of transitions. The press had a field day with the story, Hamilton Industries' AI division returns to original innovator's daughter. Andrew's reputation in the business world was in shambles, and Jessica had already moved on to greener pastures. I threw myself into rebuilding Bennett Technologies, discovering that I remembered more of my father's lessons than I'd realized. The team welcomed me warmly, many of them old employees who'd worked with Dad. 1 month after the takeover, I stood in front of Bennett Technologies' headquarters, now restored to its former glory. The sign above the door gleamed in the morning sun, Bennett Technologies, innovation with integrity. My phone buzzed, a message from Megan. Andrew is trying to salvage what's left of Hamilton Industries. Apparently, their stock is tanking without the AI division. Need any new clients? I laughed, tucking the phone away. Let him struggle. I had more important things to focus on. That evening I visited my father's grave, placing fresh flowers by the headstone. You knew, I said softly. You knew he tried to take everything, so you made sure I had what I needed to take it back. The wind rustled through the trees, and I could almost hear his response. Bennett's don't break, we rebuild. As I drove back to the beach house, I thought about everything that had happened. Andrew had thought he was destroying me, but he'd actually set me free to reclaim my father's legacy, free to prove what I was capable of. My father's letter sat framed on my desk now, a daily reminder that sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all, it's justice, served exactly as it needs to be. The next morning, as I walked into my office at Bennett Technologies, my assistant handed me the latest market reports. Our stock was soaring, new clients were lined up for meetings, and the tech blogs were buzzing about our upcoming innovations. Oh, and Miss Bennett, she added with a smile, Mr. Hamilton's office called. They want to discuss licensing terms for some of our new patents. I smiled, settling into my chair. Tell them to send a proposal. And Sarah, make sure they know our terms are non-negotiable. Looking out over the city skyline from my office, my father's old office, I felt a deep sense of peace. Andrew had tried to take everything from me, thinking I was just a naive girl he could manipulate. Instead, He'd given me back everything I was meant to have all along. Sometimes, I mused, the best hidden pages are the ones written in our own hearts, just waiting for the right moment to be revealed.